Hello my friends, welcome to the Electric Viking. Great to have you here. Thank you for subscribing. Stoked to see you again. Now this video I think is important on a number of levels. Toyota is and has been lobbying to stop the spread of EVs, to stop pure electric battery vehicles. In fact, they're lobbying the United States government right now to slow down the transition to EVs, and they're using their position of power to market and confuse people about EVs while saying they're just going to invest $13 billion US now that things are changing. They said this within the last 48 hours. So they're trying to play a game where they slow down everyone else for their own benefit. Is it going to work? Well, I'm going to tell you why mathematically Toyota is utterly clueless, has no idea what they're doing, and are absolutely destined for bankruptcy. And I mean not clickbait bankruptcy, I mean real bankruptcy, I mean statistically mathematical bankruptcy. Toyota are absolutely dead in the water and will be this decade's Nokia or this decade's Kodak, whoever you want to say. Maybe this decade's coal companies, the 5 largest coal companies in the United States are now bankrupt. Well, Toyota's going to do the same. So maybe I'm confusing you. Toyota announced it's investing US $13 billion in EV batteries as it's trying to catch up after falling behind in electrification. But let's have a look at what exactly that $13 billion will go towards, how many batteries that $13 billion will buy, and when that $13 billion will be spent. That's the key here. Don't fall for Toyota's marketing. Okay, give you some history on Toyota. Obviously, they started the Prius more than a decade ago, and it's been a huge worldwide hit. And Toyota sort of marketed themselves as being a green company. Interestingly, Toyota even invested in Tesla all the way back in 2013, and if they still held those shares, they would be worth $20 billion. $20 billion. But they don't. They sold them back in 2017 for a profit, but obviously that was a short-sighted move. Now, Toyota has not launched a battery-powered electric vehicle outside of China yet. They plan to next year with a new Toyota BZ4 thingy, which Subaru is also going to be selling the same exact vehicle but rebadged as Subaru. See my Subaru Solterra video and my Toyota BZ4X thingy video in the description below. I say that because I'm mocking the name of Toyota's EV. I think it's silly. But anyway, let's get to the point here. The new Toyota EV won't even be a Toyota. It will be a BYD rebadged as a Toyota. Then that Toyota will be rebadged as a Subaru. Anyhow, I'm sure Toyota will contribute something to this EV, but we know that this EV will have BYD's Blade Battery, architecture, system, computers, motors, etc. Right? Toyota is basically using BYD to make an EV because they fell behind and couldn't be asked making one themselves. They were hedging their bets and they lost that game. Now, executives at Toyota have downplayed electric vehicles and criticized them heavily over the past few years, even as recently as May this year. And they promoted hybrids and fuel cell hydrogen vehicles. Now, fuel cell hydrogen vehicles may eventually work in large trucks, large semi-trailers, but they will never be a thing in passenger vehicles. That has long gone. That train is long gone. It's not happening, never will. The efficiency of a hydrogen passenger vehicle just makes zero sense. It's an idiotic idea. If you still believe in it, then I'm sorry, but I've got news for you. It's not happening. Now, while Toyota's been doing this, the rest of the industry, well, a lot of the industry has moved forward and made impressive progress with dozens of compelling battery-powered vehicles launching over the last few years and launching over the next 12 to 24 months. It's going to be a slate of new models. Now, especially China. China has been the country which has absolutely dominated in this area. Now, recently Toyota seems to have started to potentially change their mind. They haven't said so, but it appears as though they might be planning on moving forward with volume production of battery electric vehicles. Now, they announced they're going to invest 1.5 trillion yen in battery supply and research by 2030. So over the next 9 years, the company's going to invest $13 billion US in not just battery supply, but also battery research. So what percentage of that $13 billion will actually go into purchasing batteries? We don't know. But Toyota has said that they are, okay, I quote, "We are assuming that we will go beyond the 180 gigawatt hours worth of batteries that we are currently considering and will ready 200 gigawatt hours worth of batteries or more if the dissemination of EVs is faster than expected." So somehow they're going to magically pivot overnight and go from 180 gigawatt hours to 200 gigawatt hours. Now that's not a huge difference. It's only 10%. So how many vehicles will Toyota be able to make, electric vehicles will Toyota be able to make with 200 gigawatt hours of batteries? Well, when I first read this, I laughed because it proved my point. It proved my point that I've been saying for months now. Toyota is not planning for an electric future. Therefore, they will go bankrupt, right? Okay. At an average of 60 kilowatt hours per battery pack, that 200 gigawatt hours of battery supply would be enough for an annual production of only 3 million vehicles. Currently, Toyota sells 11 million vehicles. So, Toyota will go from selling 11 million vehicles to potentially up to 3 million vehicles. Does this sound like a company that's going to be successful to you? Now, it's obviously somewhat logical, but I think in a way evil to slow everybody else down while you try to play catch up because you had your head in the sand and they were extremely arrogant about it, weren't they? Now, nobody seeing this video or learning about what Toyota has been doing is going to think kindly of Toyota. The marketing they've been doing lately is really kind of putting them in the basket of a company that does things in a deceitful way. Basically, they're late to the game and they deserve a hell of a lot of pain for intentionally falling behind and intentionally trying to mislead their consumers. Now, when I say mislead their consumers, well, Toyota has invested millions of dollars in marketing this magical idea that they have an electric vehicle. It's not an electric vehicle, a hybrid vehicle, which will run forever and never needs to be charged. Now, they've had to remove some of this advertising because it was just purely deceitful and pure lies. And this just adds to Toyota's recent catalogue of dishonest actions and bizarre criticisms and really, let's be honest, their run of bad decisions. The world needs to accelerate electric vehicle adoption. A recent study came out, longitudinal study, showing that the people who live the longest on the planet fall under one main category. It's not the Mediterranean diet. It's not how many olives or beans or sushi or salmon that they eat. The one thing it came down to was how much pollution they breathe in the air. You'll live longer if you aren't sucking in fumes from car exhausts. Toyota is on the highway to extinction unless they get their shit together real damn soon. Thanks for watching the video. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye-bye.